With the 33rd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Kevin King, defensive back, Washington.
Well, there it is. You said corner, Lance, and corner it is, and Kevin King does not have to wait long in that green room as the last player.
No, not at all. 6'3", 200 pounds, coming straight from the town, Oakland. When you go back and look at the history of the Green Bay Packers, they love big cornerbacks. One of the things that we did when I was with the Seattle Seahawks and even in the Green Bay Packers before, we wanted guys that were over 6 feet tall. We believe they matched up better with those big body wide receivers that have been dominating the league. Kevin King has the length. He has the versatile game. He's an experienced player, having been at UW for at least 4 years. He should be able to come right from the college game and step in and compete for one of those starting jobs.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Cam Robinson, tackle, Alabama.
You're on your own, man.
All right, Bucky, instant draft grade.
Hey, B+, we talked about it. Lance and I talked. They have to commit to fixing that offensive line. A lot of the conversation we had after the Fournette pick was, it's nice to bring a running back, but if you don't fix the offensive line, it's pointless. Well, now the Jaguars are going about trying to fix that offensive line. There you see it, 44 consecutive starts at left tackle. I believe he goes to right tackle, fortifies that lineup, and he has an opportunity to really kind of button up that offensive line.
The Seattle Seahawks select Malik McDowell, defensive tackle, Michigan State.
That was the name the two of you were talking about during the break there. Instant draft grade, Bucky.
I give him a B, and the reason I give him a B because this guy, talent-wise, is a first-round talent. When he is lined up and ready to play and he commits to being a great player, he dominates the game. We saw the Notre Dame game. He looked like one of the top 10 prospects in the draft. However, he doesn't play at a high level consistently. When you know a little bit about the Seattle Seahawks, they believe in taking chances on these kind of guys because they buy into the talent. They believe they have a culture where they can create a level of accountability amongst their players that will make guys rise to the standard. If he rises to the standard, they're getting a dominant player potentially on the inside of their defense.
The Arizona Cardinals select Budda Baker, defensive back from Washington.
Well done, Lance Zierlein. Budda Baker, Bucky, instant grade.
Hey, Lance was all on it. Great job by Lance in terms of speculating what they want. And
his old man's a coach there. Let's not give him too much credit. Jeez.
Well, but what they're getting is they're getting flexibility. They're getting a guy who I think is the best nickel corner in the draft. When you watch this tape at UW, his ability to play in the slot, he was tutored early on in high school by one of my former teammates, James Hasty, a multiple Pro Bowl corner, and he understands how to play the game. You see the instincts, you see the awareness. These tapes that we're seeing in terms of his ability to blitz off the edge, he has a feel to it. So now you think about having Tyrann Mathieu on one side, Budda Baker on the other, being able to have interchangeable safeties that can play interchangeable roles, not only in the back end, but also near the line of scrimmage. A lot of flexibility. This defense now can become more multiple, hybrid defense. I kind of like what they're doing.
The Buffalo Bills select wide receiver Zay Jones from East Carolina.
They look happy. Yeah.
All right, Bucky, they trade up and give up a third to get their wide receiver grade.
Hey, I give them a B. This is a solid overall pick. Zay Jones has been very, very impressive since the end of the season.
I wish more production, though.
Oh, you did? You don't like 320?
Not enough. 399 receptions.
399 receptions. You don't like almost 400
Yeah.
receptions. I like the way he plays, from his route running ability to his ball skills to the way he competed at the Senior Bowl. I believe you're getting a day one ready player, meaning he steps on the field, he should be able to go opposite Sammy Watkins and make a contribution in the starting lineup. I love his readiness. I love the fact that he is a gym rat when it comes to the game. We had him on the Moody Stick podcast. Very, very impressive from an IQ standpoint and all the things that we've seen him do on the field, Senior Bowl, and at the Combine.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Forrest Lamp, guard, Western Kentucky.
All right, Bucky, instant draft grade. They needed O-line help.
And they got it. I think they got one of the best offensive guards in the draft, maybe the best when it comes to being able to be athletic and get to the edges and do some of the things that you like to do in a movement-based scheme. He is a guy that really showed up and played well against Alabama. When you're looking at small school guys, you want to see how they play against elite competition. He stepped up. And there you see at the bottom where they have the little comparisons. Zach Martin.
Pretty good name.
Pretty good name to throw in there. Look, I like this guy. I thought he was very, very impressive throughout his tape. And when you saw those big moments in big games, he played very, very well.
The New York Jets select Marcus Maye, defensive back, Florida.
As he throws his hands to the air. Bucky, instant grade.
B+, because what I like about this pick is the combination of things that are going on with the New York Jets. We've heard that they were shopping Calvin Pryor. They didn't like his performance at safety. They now have two guys that are alpha personalities in Jamal Adams and Marcus Maye. Marcus Maye, when you talk to the Florida guys that came in during the time on path to the draft, Quincy Wilson and Teez Tabor both said that this was the alpha guy in the room. Controlled the clicker, meaning he ran the meetings, talked about what they were seeing on film, communicated all the information to the guys on the outside. And when you have those two guys that I mentioned, plus Vernon Hargreaves, Keanu Neal, they said this was the guy that was the tone setter. I'm impressed with his intelligence and his ability to be the traffic cop, but I'm also impressed with the combination of Jamal Adams and Marcus Maye being leaders in the back end.
The Carolina Panthers select Curtis Samuel, wide receiver, Ohio State.
All right, Bucky, it's a wide receiver, but it's Curtis Samuel. Grade?
I'm going to give them an A-. And the reason I'm going to give them an A-, in a weird way, they're building a team that is very similar to the New England Patriots. By that I mean their running backs are really polished wide receivers. They can go empty formation and create all kinds of headaches and problems for your defense while also retaining the ability to run the ball. I know they want to lighten the load on Cam Newton as a runner, and they've talked about changing the offense to alleviate some of the pressure on him to do so much, particularly down in the red zone. What I'm seeing, though, is they're a little more dynamic, a little more spread, a little more explosive. They're going to create their explosive plays on horizontal routes, meaning their guys going across the field as opposed to down the field. Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, a 1-2 punch as these hybrid running backs. They're going to be a headache.
You're watching that tape. That does not look like a running back when you're watching those highlights.
The Minnesota Vikings select Dalvin Cook, running back, Florida State.
My instant grade here is a hard A. When you look at Dalvin Cook, you've got a guy who can do everything for you. 3-down running back, has the ability to catch out of the backfield, can protect, and also is a dynamic runner. And the great thing about him is when the game was biggest, especially with rivalries, Florida, Miami, Clemson, he put on some of his biggest shows. And I think when the lights are brightest, that's when he really goes to work. And I think this is also a pretty good fit for him as well, I think, because they can start to grow the offense around Dalvin Cook. And I think that's what he needs. He needs those reps.
The New Orleans Saints select Marcus Williams, defensive back, Utah.
All right, Bucky, instant grade.
I'm going to give them a B. This is a solid overall pick. They wanted to continue to upgrade their secondary. So you get Marshawn Lattimore in the first round. You now come back in the second round. You get a center field safety to team up with Von Bell, who they took a year ago. I like this pick. This guy's smart. He's instinctive. He has ball skills. There you see the production. Yep. 11 career interceptions, and he's a solid tackler. If you want to eliminate some of the big plays, one is by being in position. Two is by tackling guys and getting them down. Marcus Williams accomplishes both of those things.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Sidney Jones, DB, Washington.
All right, the crowd likes it, Jaws likes it. Do you like it?
I love it. I love it. The only reason I'm giving it an A- instead of a conventional A, but I believe this guy was the best corner in the draft from a technical standpoint, the way he played the game. The Achilles injury will set him back. But the Eagles are smart enough to take him and stash him away. If they get something out of him this year or not, it doesn't matter. I just believe the skill set on the field should translate into being an outstanding shutdown corner at the next level. Instincts, awareness, his versatility from a technical standpoint, being able to press, play off, bail, and he is a competitive guy. When you watched him play against JuJu, he absolutely ate him up back-to-back years. This is a tremendous add for the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Los Angeles Rams, thank you, select Gerald Everett, tight end, South Alabama. That's a good one.
Well, Jack Youngblood says that's a good one. Instant draft grade.
I'm going to give him a B-. I'm going to give him a B- just because I'm uncertain what position he plays for them. This is a team that last year went and got
two tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, from Western Kentucky, who it kind of plays in that light. This is a hybrid, meaning a tight end, wide receiver. He is in that Jordan Reed mode. He does have the ability to create mismatches on the edge. I just think for a team that needs so much, I mean, he is a weapon, but he's not a dominant number one receiver. I don't know if he can necessarily anchor your passing game. You need a corner. You need some other things. I like it. I
mean, how much does
it.
Sean McVay play into this? The man that was coaching up Jordan Reed.
Sean McVay has to play. Maybe he sees him as a Jordan Reed clone and he sees him as a centerpiece. You could argue in Washington, Jordan Reed is the guy that's kind of the solar system player in that offense where everything revolved around him, particularly down in the red zone.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears select Adam Shaheen, tight end, Ashland.
All right, Bucky, your Move the Sticks partner's favorite player in the draft.
You know, DJ's been really campaigning for Adam Shaheen to go, and he said he would go in the second round. He was absolutely right. This is a traditional wide tight end with size, speed, strength, and explosive power. He is everything that you necessarily look for at the position as a guy with his hand in the dirt at that position. 278 pounds, has a background in basketball, so he should be a guy that can be a dominant player down in the red zone. And he's tough, he's physical, dominated his level of competition. May take him a little while to transition to the pro game, but he has outstanding traits, and that should give him a chance to be a contributing player in his first or second season.
Coach Nation selects Quincy Wilson, DB, Florida.
All right, Bucky, instant grade.
You know, I give them a B for this pick. This is a solid player, a guy who has size, he has intelligence, he has outstanding movement skills, and he's a really polished technician. In this defense, they need better players on the outside, someone that can play opposite Vontae Davis. We'll see Wilson has an opportunity to come right in and be an immediate starter. I know there have been some conversation about possibly moving TJ Green to corner. I believe they're going to keep him inside at safety, allow this guy to compete for the starting job, and eventually I believe he gets on the field as their starter opposite Davis.
The Baltimore Ravens select Tyus Bowser, linebacker, Houston.
Here we go. The Baltimore Ravens continue to just do what they do, and that is always take the best player available. Tyus Bowser was a guy that was getting some buzz. Some people thought that he may sneak into the bottom of the first round due to his athleticism and skills as an outside linebacker. This is a guy who plays with tremendous motor, brings it, revs it up. Had an opportunity to watch him play against Florida State in that bowl game, and he is a guy that brings the hat. I like his toughness. I like his energy. He's a good player.
The Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Mixon, running back, Oklahoma.
All right, Bucky, grade.
Hey, I'm going to give him a B+ for the grade because at this point in the draft, second round, we understand the risks that go along with taking Joe Mixon from a character standpoint. But in terms of as a player, this is a guy that is a perfect fit in Cincinnati. This is a team that has taken chances on troubled players with moderate success. When you look at how this team has upgraded their talent, it's been because they've been able to take guys that were blue-chip talents that may have had some questionable things with them. This is a guy that reminds me on tape of David Johnson. And that is lofty praise for a guy that was an all-everything running back at Arizona. But when I look at Joe Mixon, he's big, he's talented, he's physical, he can run it inside and outside, he can catch the ball out the backfield, he has return ability. He might be the most complete back of all the backs that were in this draft class when it comes to being able to check off the box. Bigger version of what Christian McCaffrey can do. And so that's why I bring in the comparisons to Dave Johnson because he's terrific.
The Washington Redskins select Ryan Anderson, linebacker, Alabama.
Ryan Anderson is what I call a hard-head and a lunch pail player. Blue-collar in every facet of the word. This is a guy that is physical at the point of attack, great hand skills. He's stout, he's rugged. He's a guy who has outstanding hitting power. He takes people down, also brings a pass rushing presence. The Washington Redskins have been a team that have continued to throw a number of guys on the backside as pass rushers. Trent Murphy, Preston Smith, Ryan Anderson is another one that can come in and contribute, maybe give them 6 to 8 sacks each year.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Justin Evans, defensive back, Texas A&M.
You know, Justin Evans is a guy that was kind of polarizing in terms of scouting circles. When you looked at him a season ago, you thought this was a guy that was going to be destined to be a first-round pick. He has outstanding hitting power. He's a thumper in the back end, kind of an intimidating presence when you work between the hashes. Also has ball skills and instincts. This season fell off a little bit because he missed tackles, but when you're grading players, I was taught that you have to grade the flashes. His flashes are very, very impressive. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are able to work through some of the kinks in his game, he has an opportunity to be a terrific player in the back end for them, someone that can come down and really man that center field safety role and help them create more turnovers.
The Denver Broncos select Marcus Walker, defensive end, Florida State.
I'm going to get the Broncos a B- on this pick. I like the pick. I like the player. The only reason I can downgrade him a little bit, the size 6'3", 280 pounds, I just wonder where he plays in this defense. I'm trying to figure out what is the fit because I believe his best asset is when he kicks inside and he's a pass rushing 3 technique. He dominates people on the inside with his combination of hand skills and initial first step quickness. He understands how to rush the passer. I worry about him getting swallowed up a little bit at times on the outside, but in sub packages, being able to put him inside over top of the guard, he could be a dominant third down situational pass rusher.
The Cleveland Browns select DeShone Kizer, quarterback, Notre Dame. Go Cleveland.
Now that's the way you announce a draftee.
I mean, you put a bass in your voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Say it with your chest. That's what Jim Brown did. And I love this pick. I give it an A-. I believe at the end of the day, this is a guy that has the prototypical talent to be a franchise quarterback of all the quarterbacks that we've discussed. Size, arm talent, ability to throw with timing and anticipation. When he is right, and we've seen him throw with confidence and play with confidence, he has been the best guy in the class. But he's been inconsistent, and sometimes you worry about his footwork. Sometimes his footwork gets out of sorts and he makes bad decisions. But in terms of making big boy wild throws, he makes them. He makes them in a traditional manner. In the offense that he played in at Notre Dame, he was allowed to do some things that you would see quarterbacks do on Sundays, and he has an added benefit and dimension of being a talented athlete and runner. He has to straighten out his ability to play with confidence and make good decisions. But when he does that, and if he does that, I believe he can surpass Watson, Trubisky, and Mahomes in terms of his ability to play the game like we want to see it on Sunday.
The Detroit Lions have selected Teez Tabor, defensive back from Florida.
Another polarizing prospect in this class. There is a lot of split opinions on Teez Tabor. When you talk to some scouts love the length, love the athleticism, thinks he can compete like a madman on the perimeter. You talk to other guys, they don't see the same type guy. They see a guy who is a press-only corner, a guy who has limited turn and transition ability, doesn't necessarily have a back pedal that he's padding. When I look at Teez Tabor, I see an intriguing prospect, one that needs some development, one that needs to continue to work and refine his game. Super confident, high IQ, will compete, but you got to get it straightened out now that he's been put in the second round.
The Miami Dolphins select Raekwon McMillan, Ohio State.
All right, Buck, another Buckeye.
Here we go, Raekwon the chef coming in from Ohio State, put him in an inside linebacker for the Miami Dolphins, and I like this pick coming from Ohio State. 6'4", 240 pounds, instinctive traffic cop in the middle of that defense. Old school Mike linebacker does a great job of communicating and setting the calls. The biggest question that you have to ask with Raekwon, is he a two-down linebacker or can he stay on the field for all 3 downs? When I watch him on tape, I like the rugged, I like the brutish physicality that he plays with. I like the fact that he's able to control the tackle box from tackle to tackle. I do worry about his ability to play in space, and I don't think he's a dynamic athlete. In today's game, to stay on the field, you have to be a little more explosive and dynamic to do it. We'll see early in training camp if he's able to hold that.
the New York Football Giants select Dalvin Tomlinson, defensive tackle, University of Alabama.
You know, this is funny because I had a scout on the road talk to me about Dalvin Tomlinson. I give him a B on the pick, the New York Giants. They talked about at the pro day workout this guy being very, very impressive, particularly when he was working alongside Jonathan Allen. In fact, I had a scout that I trust tell me that he believed that this guy could eventually outplay Jonathan Allen at the next level. His wrestling background, his ability to play with leverage, his ability to control the point of attack as a run stopper really makes him an intriguing option. When you're the New York Giants, you lose Jonathan Hankins. You need to find someone inside that can be that guy that eats up blocks and allows the linebackers to run and roam freely. Dalvin Tomlinson is a guy that can do that. Yeah, it's a pass rusher. He's more of a pocket pusher. But on rundowns, this is a grown man that is hard to move off the block.
The Oakland Raiders. We select Obi Melifonwu, defensive back, Connecticut.
Well done, Willie Brown. Got it out, Obi Melifonwu.
The late Al Davis would love this pick. Al Davis has always been one that has been fascinated by guys who had traits and measurables. 6'3", 224 pounds, 4.4 speed in the 40. He is a guy that has the athleticism that you absolutely look for, not only in safeties, but at corner. The fact that he also bounced outside and played corner at the Senior Bowl makes him an intriguing prospect. The Raiders are a team that have desperately needed additional help in the back end, be it at safety, also at corner. With Obi Melifonwu, you have a guy that you can actually play around with in mini camps and training camp to figure out what is the best position for him. I believe with Gary and Conley and some of the other guys that they have at corner, you can start him maybe at safety, but flirt with him being a nickel kind of player on the outside. I've said it, at safety, he kind of reminds me of Cam Chancellor, physical player at the point of attack, good striker, good tackler. Each year when it came to his tackle production, he got better. We could say maybe because UConn's defense wasn't great, but he made a lot of tackles. I didn't see him miss a lot of tackles. Also finished his career with 10 interceptions. Solid overall player at the safety position.
The Houston Texans select Zach Cunningham, linebacker, Vanderbilt.
This is an interesting pick for the Houston Texans. Zach Cunningham, to me, is a perfect fit in a 3-4 defense. I think he's an inside linebacker in that defense. You look at his size, 6'3", 234 pounds. Watching him on tape kind of reminded me of Derrick Johnson, the old linebacker that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs that came out of Texas. And when I looked at him on tape, the reason I came up with that comparison and I saw the similarities, Derrick Johnson wasn't necessarily a physical player during his time at Texas in college, but he made a lot of tackles. Zach Cunningham, to me, is a guy that isn't necessarily a brutish banger at the point of attack, but he finds a way to get to the ball.
The Seattle Seahawks select Ethan Pocic, tackle, LSU.
You know, Ethan Pocic is a guy that is a really nice fit for the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team that has been desperate to continue to upgrade the interior, well, actually all of the offensive line.
The entire offensive line.
On the inside. This is a guy that can play center. He's tall, a little taller than I like at center, but he's solid. There you see has versatility, played 4 different positions during his time at LSU. Just a solid overall player, someone they can throw in the mix, and hopefully he can crack the starting lineup and give them some stability in that front 5.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Tanoh Kpassagnon.
All right, Bucky.
Interesting selection for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm gonna give him a C+. C+ is a little better than average, so
No, it's not.
A little better than average. Look, intriguing.
Tell my mom and dad that.
Not on your grading scale. It might as well be an F- on the Bucky Brooks grading scale.
You know, I believe in being optimistic. Look, long, rangy player, a guy who has interesting athletic traits. He looks the part for sure. So I'm at the Senior Bowl. He looks like he could be a guy that could grow into a role. The only thing that not the only thing, but the thing that bothers me when I look at Kpassagnon, I would expect a guy with his athleticism, his traits, to dominate the level of competition. And I never saw him take the game over. And so if you can't take the game over at a smaller level of competition,
Did he remind you of Howie Long out there playing for Villanova?
No, he did not.
With the second pick in the 60th pick in the second round, the Dallas Cowboys select defensive back from Colorado, Chidobe Awuzie.
He's the best. Drew Pearson is the absolute. Give that performance an A++++.
He has to get an A just on the delivery.
Yeah.
But this player, Chidobe Awuzie, is fantastic. He's a perfect fit for the Dallas Cowboys and what they want to do on the outside. Ultra competitive kid, ideal versatile player, meaning he can play outside or inside. High IQ, great footwork, hand skills, ball skills. He is terrific for this scheme. This is a scheme that wants to play man-to-man on early downs. They want to jump in a Tampa 2 on late downs and put their hands in reroute receivers. He is a nice fit in this defense. I like what they're doing.
Listen,
Rob Marinelli's going to love him.
I don't know what we're paying Pearson, but give him a raise.
The Green Bay Packers draft Josh Jones, defensive back, NC State. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Here we go, B+ for the Packers on this pick. Josh Jones is a guy that we talked about possibly sneaking in the back door to the first round. Athletic, competitive, tough. He can tackle. He's versatile in his play. He can play in the box, but also play in the back end. He is a guy that was outstanding at the Combine in terms of his movement skills. I believe the Green Bay Packers are continuing to load up on talent in the back end because the last couple of years, even though they drafted guys, they still haven't gotten the performance that they want. You're seeing a more explosive set of corners and safeties coming to Green Bay because they're really trying to fix that secondary.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select JuJu Smith-Schuster from USC.
You know, JuJu is a nice fit in Pittsburgh because when you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers and traditionally guys that play for the Steelers, they have to be blue-collar workers. When I look at JuJu Smith-Schuster, he has that kind of mentality on the field. Tough, rugged, physical, great hands, catch and run specialist. In this offense where they use a lot of bunch and crossing routes, he should be terrific in their scheme. They lost Marcus Wheaton. They need to add somebody to the mix. JuJu, a young JuJu, only 20 years old, he should be able to grow into that role on the outside.
The Buffalo Bills select Dion Dawkins, tackle, out of Temple University.
He wanted applause, and the Philly crowd just did not want to give it to him.
No applause. B pick for this. This is a solid pick for the Buffalo Bills. They're just trying to accumulate solid players, much like they did when they landed Tre'Davious White early. They just want a player that's going to come in and play. No fanfare. I think this is a no-nonsense player at the point of attack. Made a conversion from defensive tackle to left tackle. I believe he kicks inside as a pro. Should be able to push people off the ball. I just like him. I just think he's a solid player.
I let him try right tackle first and let him fail before I moved him to guard. I mean, he had Jordan Mills and Chantrell Henderson. That's not good enough to me. So I thought Dion Dawkins, he has some pass pro issues at right tackle. So personally, I'm kind of with Bucky, but I'd give him a shot out there. He's got long arms. He's very physical, and he's very aggressive at the point of attack.
The Carolina Panthers select Taylor Moton, tackle, Western Michigan.
Row the boat, Bucky. Row the boat.
I know how much you love rowing the boat.
Row the boat, Bucky.
Taylor Moton is a guy that has really come on like game busters in the conversation. There are a lot of people that speculated he would go higher in the second round. Solid overall player. Thinking about playing somewhere on the right side of the line of scrimmage. He's solid. Guy can move people off the ball, has some athleticism. Just trying to figure out where he plays. But for the Carolina Panthers, they're a team that needed bodies. They thought they upgraded their offensive line when they brought Matt Khalil over. Michael Orr kicks over to right tackle. They still need someone that can solidify the edges. If Michael Orr is unable to do it, he'll get an opportunity to do so at the right tackle spot.